Hello guys. So in this tutorial we are going to discuss about Apex language fundamentals. Apex language fundamentals. So in Apex language fundamentals we have data types. So in Apex all variables and expression have a data type. There are two types of data types. Two types of data types. Okay. First one is primitive data type. And the second one is S object data type. S object is nothing but the Salesforce object. So primitive data type. Let's see what is a primitive data type. So a primitive data type such as an integer, boolean, long, date time, string, id. So these types of data types are called as primitive data types. A primitive data type such as what? Integer, double, long, date, then date time, string, id or boolean. Okay, so these are the primitive data types. So all primitive data types are passed by value. They are not passed by reference. It's another important point. All primitive data types are passed by values but not by reference to them. But not by reference. Okay, and another important point is all Apex variables, whether they are the class member variables or member variables, are initialized to what? Null. They should be initialized to null. Make sure that the initialized variable, we have to initialize the variable to appropriate values before we use them. So this is the important point. All Apex variables whether they are class member variables or member variables. Okay, should be initialized to null. Okay, So they are initialized to null, and we have to make sure that the variables should be assigned to appropriate values before we use them. Make sure that we initialize variables to appropriate values before using them. For example, we can say that initialize a boolean variable to false. Initialize a boolean variable to false. Okay. Next, Apex primitive data types include Apex primitive data types include let's start with the boolean. What is boolean? A value that can only be assigned true or false or null. A value that can only be assigned true or false or null. So let me give an example for this. Example, boolean. Okay, boolean, let's give is active is equal to true. So this can be anything, is active or A or B, anything. And it can be true or false. Okay, so the next primitive data type is date. So what is date? A value that indicates a particular day. Date values the date values contain no information about time. Date values must always be created with a system static method. A value that indicates a particular day. Date values contain no information. They don't contain any information about time. Date values must always be created with a system static method. Date values must always be created using system static method. And what is that method? Static method. Example, date, I can name this anything. My date is equal to date dot new instance, the new instance of, I can give the year here, then day, year, month, and third one is the date. Okay, and what will be the output? Output is 2012 hyphen 05 hyphen 28. So this is the output. So the next one is time and date time data type. Time and date time. So these are data types associated with dates and times along with date data type. So the time data type stores times, hours, minutes, seconds and milliseconds. The date data type stores dates, that is years, months and day. The date time data type stores both dates and times. Okay. These are data types associated with date and times along with date data type. The time data type stores, what it will store? Hours, minutes, seconds and millisecond. The date data types stores dates, that is year, month and day. The date time data type stores both dates and times. Data type stores both date and times. So each of these classes has a new instance methods with which we can construct particular date and time values. Like example, time, my time, this is just the name variable, is equal to new instance of, let me do it as 18 comma 30 comma 2 comma 20. So what will be the output? So output is 18, 30, 2. This will be the output. We can also create dates and times from the current clock. How? We can also create date and times from current clock. That is, you have to use this way: date my date time is equal to date time dot now semicolon. So what this will do, this is the standard one provided by the Salesforce. So this will store date time dot now. Whatever it will fetch, it will store in this my date time. In the case if we want only the date, we will use date today is equal to date dot today. So it will only fetch the date. This is the standard, and it will only fetch the date and it will store in today. Similarly, if we want the date and time classes also have instance methods for converting from one format to another format also. Okay, the date and time classes have instance method for converting from one format to another. Example, how to convert from one format to another. Time, let's say time will be stored in T is equal to date time dot now. Okay, will be converted to time. By this way we can convert. And finally, we can also manipulate the values by using a range of instance methods. So that also we will see here. We can also manipulate the values using a range of instance method. Example, date my next 30 is equal to my today dot add days 30. So what it will do? It will add 30 to the current date. Okay, if we give this way, add days 30, so for today it will add 30 days and store it in my next 30. Okay, and it will display in the for date format. So in this tutorial we have seen primitive data types. Okay, so there are still things pending for primitive data type. It is like integer, long, double, decimal we have discussed. So we will be discussing that in the next tutorial. So thanks for watching this and please subscribe.